The zookeepers at the zoo noticed something was wrong when Liberty, the resident bald eagle, refused to leave her nest for days. Liberty, known for her spirited and lively nature, had suddenly become uncharacteristically still. The zookeepers, who had always taken pride in her exuberant antics, began to worry. Her majestic presence seemed dimmed, her usual flights across the spacious aviary curiously absent, leaving an unsettling emptiness in the enclosure. Liberty's odd behavior bothered the zookeepers. Normally, she was the epitome of a majestic bald eagle, soaring high and interacting with her surroundings. The zookeepers found it alarming when she only perched silently in her nest. Each day they drew closer to her enclosure, peering through the netting, hoping to catch a glimpse of her usual vitality. But all they saw was a motionless bird, eyes fixed on an invisible point. Initial observations showed no clear signs of illness or disturbance in Liberty. There was no visible injury, and her feathers were as pristine as ever. The zookeepers watched her breathing, looking for any irregularities, but found none. They noted her food and water intake, which seemed normal. Her perch, nest, and the surrounding area looked untouched, devoid of any oddities. Still, the mystery of her behavior deepened with each passing hour. The zookeepers speculated several reasons, from illness to environmental changes, for Liberty's behavior. Was she reacting to some unseen threat? Could she be unwell despite appearing healthy? Or perhaps something in the environment had changed, unsettling her? The zookeepers debated these questions, each offering theories. Their discussions grew more urgent, the mystery gnawing at them with each theory. They hoped to pinpoint what was troubling their beloved eagle. They observed Liberty through binoculars, but saw nothing obviously wrong. Her eyes were clear and focused, her feathers glistening under the daylight. She occasionally shifted, repositioning herself within the nest, but made no move to leave. The binoculars revealed no hidden injuries or disturbances in the surrounding area. It was as though an invisible boundary held her in place. The zookeepers felt their anxiety grow as they scrutinized her every subtle movement. With concern growing, Sarah, the head zookeeper, planned to take a closer look. "Sarah, we need to get in there. Something's not right and we can't just keep watching from a distance." Sarah's determination was palpable. She'd always had a soft spot for Liberty, and seeing her like this tugged at her heart. The team prepared to follow Sarah's lead, each member ready for the task ahead. Sarah gathered her team for a briefing to discuss Liberty's strange behavior. Meeting in the staff room, she addressed the assembled group. "Sarah, all right everyone, we need to get to the bottom of this. Liberty means a lot to us, and we can't let her suffer." The team nodded, their faces serious. Sarah outlined her plan, sharing her concerns and... The team gathered, puzzled by Liberty's unusual behavior. It was clear that something was off, and they needed to get to the bottom of it. Emphasizing the importance of thorough investigation and teamwork, they considered various possibilities, including health issues or environmental disturbances. Mark, could she be sick but hiding it well? Ed, maybe something in her environment is stressing her out. Jane, another zookeeper, added, maybe something in her environment is stressing her out. Sarah, both are valid points. We need to check for signs of disease and also look at any recent changes in her habitat. The team listened intently, ready to investigate. Specific tasks were assigned: checking for illness, ensuring the habitat security, and reviewing security footage. Mark was assigned to examine Liberty closely for any symptoms of disease. Jane was tasked with inspecting the entire aviary for any signs of environmental changes or disturbances. Meanwhile, Tom would go through the security footage to catch anything unusual. Sarah, okay team, let's do this. They dispersed, each with a clear mission. John mentioned seeing Liberty agitated a few days earlier, prompting further caution. John. She was flapping her wings a lot, almost like something was bothering her. Sarah, that's something we need to consider. John's observation added another layer to the mystery. Why had Liberty been so agitated? The team redoubled their efforts, fueled by a newfound urgency to uncover the truth behind her behavior. Sarah led the team into the aviary, stepping cautiously. Sarah, stay quiet and move slowly. Liberty's sharp eyes tracked their movement, but she remained perched. Mark moved closer, peering into the nest. He saw nothing unusual. Jane inspected the surrounding aviary, examining every corner for signs of disturbance. Meanwhile, Tom carefully adjusted the camera angles to ensure they captured every detail. Their search began in earnest. Mark focused on checking Liberty's health. He took out his flashlight, approaching her cautiously. "Mark, easy girl." Liberty stayed still as Mark examined her wings and legs. Her breathing sounded normal and her feathers looked fine. He gently felt her body for any lumps or injuries, but found none. "Mark, she seems healthy physically," Mark concluded, sharing his findings with Sarah. The absence of physical ailment deepened the mystery. Jane scrutinized Liberty's surroundings meticulously. She checked for unusual smells, potential pests, and any foreign objects. "Jane, everything looks the same," she reported, puzzled. She tested the water for contaminants and checked the feeding area. "Jane, water and food are clean. Even the plants and rocks seemed undisturbed." "Sarah, keep looking," she urged. The aviary's environment appeared unchanged, but something clearly was amiss, hiding just out of their reach. Tom reviewed footage from the past few days, fast-forwarding through hours of film. The screen showed Liberty perched, occasionally shifting but never leaving. There was no sign of predators or disturbances. Tom's eyes narrowed as he rewound to the specific moment John mentioned Liberty's agitation. "Tom, here it is," he muttered, noting the time. He saw her flapping wings but nothing else. "Tom, nothing concrete." He sighed, frustrated. The footage provided no answers. The team reconvened to discuss their findings. "Mark, everything's normal physically. Jane, no environmental issues. Tom, footage shows her being agitated, but there's no clear reason." Sarah tapped her fingers, thinking hard. "Sarah, something's still wrong. We've missed something." The team exchanged worried glances. The absence of obvious problems made the situation even more unsettling. They were determined not to give up, despite the lack of answers. "Sarah, let's take a quick break and rethink our approach," she suggested. They nodded in agreement, moving to the staff room. Over coffee, they brainstormed again. "Jane, what if it's something we can't see, something hidden? Mark, like what?" "Jane, I'm not sure, but we should consider all possibilities." The break gave them fresh perspectives to explore further. Back in the aviary, Sarah proposed a different angle. "Sarah, we'll check the food supply and consult a vet for a second opinion." Mark nodded, heading to examine the food storage. "Jane, maybe we should bring in an animal behaviorist. Maybe they'll notice something we missed." "Sarah, good idea. Let's get to work." They had new leads to follow, and their determination was renewed. A vet arrived to give Liberty a thorough checkup. "Dr. Harris, let's see what we're dealing with," Dr. Harris said, donning gloves. He administered blood tests and examined Liberty closely. The bald eagle remained calm under his touch. "Dr. Harris, she's in excellent health," Dr. Harris concluded after extensive testing. They thanked the vet, but the diagnosis only deepened the mystery. Liberty was healthy, yet something was undeniably wrong. Mark checked the food supply meticulously. He inspected each batch of fish, looking for signs of spoilage or contamination. "Mark, nothing out of the ordinary," he reported, eyes scanning the storage area. He tested the temperature and reviewed the storage protocols, finding everything in order. "Mark, the food's fine," he said aloud, another dead end. Yet their resolve to find answers remained strong. An animal behaviorist, Dr. Miller, joined the investigation. "Let's observe her patterns." Dr. Miller suggested setting up equipment to monitor Liberty more closely. They recorded every movement, analyzing her posture and eye movements. "Eagles are sensitive to their environments," Dr. Miller explained, watching Liberty intently. She noted any deviations from normal behavior. "We need to look deeper," she added. Her expertise offered new hope in unraveling Liberty's mysterious behavior. Dr. Miller started by observing Liberty's daily routines. "Look at her keen focus," she pointed out, noting Liberty's sharp gaze. Jane nodded, jotting down observations. Liberty stayed eerily still, an unusual behavior for her. "We must consider subtle changes," Dr. Miller stressed. Her knowledge brought fresh insights, highlighting the need to scrutinize every little detail. The team's hope was rekindled, motivated by Dr. Miller's focused approach. Dr. Miller suggested interactive tests to provoke reactions. "We need to see how she responds," she explained. Using gentle prompts, she placed familiar objects near Liberty. The eagle reacted slightly, shifting her gaze but remained largely motionless. "Interesting," Dr. Miller murmured. Jane noted every subtle movement. "She's not entirely unresponsive, but something's certainly off," Dr. Miller concluded. The results puzzled the team, adding another layer to the mystery. Miller observed Liberty when the team introduced sensory stimuli, sounds, lights, and smells. "Watch closely," she advised. Liberty's reactions were minimal, displaying a slight tension but no significant movement. "It's almost like she's guarding something," Jane speculated. Dr. Miller nodded thoughtfully. "Maybe, but from what?" she wondered aloud. The team carefully noted Liberty's minimal responses, realizing they might need to broaden their investigation. Miller reviewed past data on Liberty's behavior from the zoo's records. "She's always been very active," she stated, flipping through pages of the logbook. Sarah agreed. "Yes, she's typically very energetic." Dr. Miller compared the records to Liberty's current state. Something changed drastically, she concluded. The data painted a clear contrast, pushing the team to dig deeper. They needed to find the trigger for Liberty's sudden change. Desperate for answers, Sarah suggested seeking outside help. "We might be missing something." "Let's get expert opinions," she proposed. The team reached out to wildlife experts, hoping for fresh perspectives. "Dr. Martinez is renowned for his work with birds of prey," Sarah informed the team while on a call. "He's willing to help." The team felt a sense of relief knowing they were bringing in a valuable resource. Sarah contacted Dr. Martinez, explaining Liberty's situation. "It's baffling," she told him, describing Liberty's uncharacteristic behavior. "She won't leave her nest." Dr. Martinez listened intently. "I'll come by tomorrow," he assured. "We'll figure this out together." His reassurance calmed Sarah. Gathering information on his expertise, she prepped her team. The anticipated visit from Dr. Martinez lifted their spirits, giving them renewed hope to solve Liberty's mystery. The team prepared for Dr. Martinez's visit, ensuring all data and observations were ready. "Let's give him a comprehensive view," Sarah directed. They gathered notes, footage, and samples, compiling a detailed report. Liberty remained in her nest, a silent reminder of their ongoing puzzle. "Everything needs to be perfect," Jane said, adjusting her data displays. Each member felt the weight of importance, anticipating breakthroughs from Dr. Martinez's insights. Dr. Martinez arrived early the next day, greeting Sarah with a firm handshake. "Dr. Martinez, let's get to work," he said, diving straight into the examination. He reviewed all gathered data thoroughly, analyzing past footage and current observations. "Dr. Martinez, there's a pattern here," he noted, squinting at the screen. His keen eye caught nuances the team hadn't noticed. "Dr. Martinez, we're close," he assured. The team watched intently as he continued his deep dive. Dr. Martinez observed Liberty firsthand, standing quietly near her nest. "Dr. Martinez, her focus is intense," he remarked, noting Liberty's fixed stare. He examined her habitat, pointing out small details. "Dr. Martinez, look here," he said, highlighting minor disruptions the team had missed. His observations added new layers to their understanding. "Dr. Martinez, we're seeing the bigger picture now," he concluded. The team absorbed his insights, piecing together the elusive puzzle one clue at a time. Dr. Martinez made an unexpected discovery, pointing at a barely noticeable object near Liberty's nest. "Dr. Martinez, what's this?" he asked. The team peered closer, realizing it was a small piece of metal. "Jane, could this be it?" Jane wondered aloud. Dr. Martinez nodded. "Dr. Martinez, it's possible," he said. The team carefully removed the object, speculating it might be a clue. Their excitement grew, sensing they were finally on the verge of a breakthrough. Sarah held the piece of metal, turning it over in her hands. "Sarah, this looks old," she said, brow furrowing. Dr. Martinez examined it closely. "Dr. Martinez, it could have fallen from above," he suggested, glancing upwards. Mark nodded, scanning the aviary roof. "Mark, we need to find where it came from," he said. Jane took photos of the object for further analysis. The team felt a surge of hope, finally finding something tangible. John ventured a theory. "John, maybe Liberty's protecting her nest from whatever that belongs to," he said, gesturing to the metal piece. Dr. Martinez nodded thoughtfully. "Dr. Martinez, birds can be very protective," he agreed. The team considered John's idea seriously. Sarah suggested, "We should examine the nest more closely." Everyone agreed, their minds whirring with possibilities. They hoped this new discovery would lead them closer to understanding Liberty's behavior. Jane carefully approached the nest, peering inside with a flashlight. "I don't see anything unusual," she reported, but continued to search. Dr. Martinez joined her, examining the nesting materials. He spotted something glinting beneath the sticks. "What's that?" he asked, reaching in gingerly, pulling out another small object. His eyes narrowed. "Another piece of metal," he said, holding it up. The team exchanged glances, their curiosity deepening. They collected all the metal pieces, hoping to find a pattern. "These look like parts of something," Mark observed, arranging them on a table. Dr. Martinez nodded. "We need to reconstruct whatever this is," he said. The team worked together, fitting the pieces like a puzzle. Liberty watched them intently from her nest. "Maybe she's guarding a secret," John speculated. The pieces began to form a recognizable shape. They continued piecing together the metal fragments. "This looks like a container," Sarah said, fitting two pieces together. Dr. Martinez's eyes widened. "An old tracking device, perhaps," he speculated. Mark nodded. "Could be from a past research project," he added. The team felt a surge of excitement. Realizing they might be on the verge of understanding Liberty's behavior, they decided to research the device further. Tom searched the zoo's archives for any mention of the tracking device. "We might have records of its purpose," he said, fingers flying over the keyboard. Sarah and Dr. Martinez compared the pieces to known device models. "It's definitely old," Dr. Martinez confirmed, possibly from a decade ago. The team worked tirelessly, sensing they were close to cracking the mystery. Liberty's constant watchfulness seemed to encourage them. Tom found an old report detailing a tracking study involving bald eagles. "This must be it," he said, showing the team. The report mentioned multiple eagles tagged with tracking devices to monitor their migration. These devices were placed in nests for long-term studies, Dr. Martinez added. Sarah nodded, realizing Liberty's nest might have retained one of these devices, causing her behavior. They felt closer to solving the puzzle. The team pieced together the device's history. "It must have been left behind," Jane surmised, tapping the old report. Dr. Martinez crossed his arms, thinking. "Liberty's reacting to its presence," he said. "We need to remove it," Sarah stated firmly. Liberty's reaction to the device showed how deeply ingrained her instincts were. Removing it seemed like the next logical step. They prepared to carefully remove the metallic object from Liberty's nest. "We have to be gentle," Sarah advised, instructing her team. Liberty watched them closely, her eyes never leaving the nest. Jane moved slowly, extending her hand toward the remaining metal pieces. "Easy," she murmured. Dr. Martinez stayed nearby, ready to assist. The team's focus intensified, knowing this step was crucial to restoring Liberty's peace. The team felt the tension as they inched closer to removing the device. Liberty shifted slightly in her nest, her gaze piercing. "She knows something's happening," Dr. Martinez whispered. Jane's fingers brushed against the final piece. "Almost there," she said softly. Sarah and Mark held their breath, ready to react. Removing the device felt like defusing a bomb. The air was charged with anticipation, each moment stretching out. Jane's hand hovered over the final piece. Liberty kept a watchful eye, but stayed in place. "Here goes," Jane whispered, carefully lifting the last bit of metal. Everyone held their breath as Jane extracted it fully. "Got it," she announced. Liberty stirred slightly but didn't react aggressively. The team sighed in relief, feeling a small victory. They hoped removing the device would finally give them